Hi everyone, I'm very sorry for this delay that we've had. Don't forget these webinars are new for us. So we are officially on. It is now 10:11. And once again, my name is Taylor. I'm head of education here at Fanair Cosmetics. And I will be giving you your training today on the Gelous refill. So I have over 14 years of experience as a trainer and over 20 years of experience as a nail technician. I am also the founder of the Gelous brand. So I think you guys are in great hands in regards to this training. I have put together a really good training. I think you guys are going to learn a lot today. I also wanted to let you guys know that on your YouTube page at the bottom of your description, you have a link that will allow you to download 3 important documents. So the first document will be the course outline so that you guys know exactly the workflow that will be happening today. I'm predicting a 2-hour class, but depending on questions that will be asked, it might vary a little bit. You also have the product description document, which will allow you to have a full description about all the Gelous products. It is definitely a must. And also the step-by-step for the refill. Notice that it is a refill for color. If you guys want a French manicure refill, their steps are a little bit different, and they are accessible on our website at fanaircosmetics.com. You can get all these step-by-steps needed for basically any product application, anywhere from refills to sculpting. All our documents are in there in the pro section, and so you can also download it there. So please download these 3 important documents so that you can help follow through this training today. It'll definitely help you. If not, you could always follow up on the screen. I will be showing these documents live so that you can follow through there too, and maybe print them out later on today. So we'll get started with the course outline. All right. So let me just pull this document out for you. Put this full screen for you. All right. All right. So here it is. I'm going to try to make this maybe a little bit bigger for you guys. No, I don't think I can. So I don't know if you can see this properly. On my side, it's good. Don't forget, on your right-hand side, you can ask questions or even post comments. If something is not clear, if this video is lagging, please feel free to let us know, because this is the only way we'll actually get feedback and make this training better and better, which is our objective. So in the refill webinar course outline, we will have a short presentation about Fanair Cosmetics. For some of you that don't know who Fanair Cosmetics is or what we do exactly here, we will have the basic principles of a refill. We will also be talking about the electric file, because personally, when I do refills, I do use an electric file. I do use a U-Power, and it's definitely a must for me. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. Of course, if you guys want a hand file for this refill, there's absolutely no problem. You do not need to have an electric file to work with the Gelous products. It is just so much easier and faster. Then we will have a video demonstration that I've put together, and we'll have a section of tips and tricks To help you guys, I've got pictures. We're going to do a little bit of troubleshooting. Always exciting part of this webinar. And of course, a question period. I have put together 5 major questions that are asked during live trainings. So I have put them together so you guys will be able to answer these questions and see if you got them right and how well you've really understood this class. And we will have also a question period. So again, on your right hand side, you can ask questions. I have my colleague here with me that will be filtering through all the questions asked. So feel free, you guys, if you have any questions, just type those in and I'll be glad to answer them. So does the refill class have a prerequisite? Yes, of course it does. So to be certified as a cosmetologist or a nail tech is really a must. Don't forget, these classes, although they are public on YouTube, they really tailor to the professional market. Gelous is a professional brand and can only be purchased through professional retail stores. So once again, please, if you are not a professional, please log out. Again, we recommend that you follow the Natural Nail Enhancement course before you take the refill course, just simply because of the level of difficulty this class has. You have to have seen the basics of the Gelous brand and the basic product applications before you can actually go to an intermediate class, which this refill class is. So we have a little description down here of the products needed in order to perform the refill. So quickly I will read through these. So obviously a nail model to practice. Please do not practice on actual clients. Please, even if you think that they're your best customer, they're a good friend, and they'll forgive anything, please don't. Good impressions are very important, especially to our customers, and often they all know each other. So practice please on family members, models, and please pick someone that's really patient, because your first refill might take you 4 hours, and it is completely normal. So we do have the electric file. If you do not have an electric file, what I do suggest is that you use either a 100-100 grid file or an 80-80. 80-80s are really great when you don't have an electric file and you really want to drop down that product. They're really great to have. If not, an electric file, and please make sure that you guys invest in a quality machine, and it really is a great investment that you can do. The machine we'll be using today is U-Power, and the drill bit is a carbide drill bit that will be used. It is a medium carbide bit, and I'll be talking about that a little later. I have a few visuals for you guys, and we'll talk a little more about that. Then we'll be using a hand file, which is the 100 and 180 grid nail file. 100 for bringing the product down, and the 180 for filing the natural nail, because in a refill we always have 3/4 of product and 1/4 of natural nail, and obviously we don't want to be using the same grit on product than on a natural nail. So this file is really the best because it has both grits on it. We also are going to be using the 99% alcohol, and this will be used to dehydrate the nail bed. And it's very important that you guys understand this, because often there is confusion. 99% alcohol is not a product to disinfect the nail. It is really there to dry out the nail bed of any oils, hand creams your customer could have put on. So it's really there to dry it out and to prevent product lifting. Because obviously if we apply product on a greasy or oily surface, we will not get adherence. So its sole purpose is to dry out the nail bed and also remove any sticky residue that the product might have prior to filing or prior to the end of the service, where your customers actually needs to leave the salon and you can't let her leave with the sticky residue. After that, we have the non-lint wipes. In my case, I am using paper towel. that I've basically cut up into small squares. And I really find that this is the best and the cheapest way to go. So again, a 36 watt UV lamp will be used to cure the product. Don't forget the Gelous brand is UV cured only. The only product that cannot be cured in lead in the Gelous brand is the Sculpt X. And trust me, you guys, we are working very hard on that new lead Sculpt X. But it is very important that we give you a product that is superior or of equal greatness and performance. So we are, I think, at our lead version, I think the 5th version of the lead version. But we are working hard on that, so stick with us. Then we'll be using either a number 4 or number 6 gel brush. Our gel brush has been made uniquely for our textures, since we have very unique textures, very self-leveling, very fluid textures. I'll be using on the video the number 6 brush, which is my personal favorite because it's just so much faster. And although a lot of beginners tend to purchase a smaller brush because they think they'll have more precision, it actually turns out being harder to use a number 4 brush than a number 6, because you just have so many brush strokes and you're trying to get rid of them, and you're not really aware that the product kind of self-levels, so you're kind of over brushing. And really, it's not a brush that I would suggest, not even a beginner. Maybe you'd want to use this brush if you have a very, very tiny surface, someone that has a very small nail, or you can be using it also to make that perfect white smile line. You can use it as an eraser, but in terms of applying product, my personal favorite is number 6. We'll be using also the Flexi Gel. So I've brought a few products here with me today. So this is our Flexi Gel, which is the pinky product. And this is our bonding base, and you will be needing this. Then we have the Sculpt X. Again, very similar jar. All our base products are black and white, very important to remember. And the Sculpting X is the product that will be used to build the apex of the nail. And also either a Color Effects, or a vinyl. So why is there 2 products? Very confusing, isn't it? Well, it's basically, they're both color, they're different in textures. We'll be talking a little bit more about that later on. This is why in this technique here, you can either use the vinyl or the Color Effects. It really is. I'm going to bring this up to the camera as much as possible. So here's the Color Effects. This is the Pump Up the Volume. This is actually our brand color. We are a violet. Violet is really our brand color. And here the Color Effects, which is also in a violet jar. So all Color Effects are in this violet jar. So really it's going to be a question of boiling it down to which kind of texture do you prefer working with. And I think in this demonstration video, it is a vinyl that has been used. Just basically we try to mix it up in the different videos so you can see the different textures and product application, but basically they're integrated in the same steps. Whether you use a vinyl or Color Effects, it will not change anything in your technique. It's basically 2 different types of product within textures. So whether you like working with a creamier kind of texture, you're gonna love the Color Effects, right? And if you like the brush on, sorry, here I'm just trying to get get used to the camera. Yeah, left is right and right is left. So a lot of the people love the vinyls just because it has the brush that's integrated into the jar. So it makes you think that it's so much easier because everybody's used to a nail polish brush, right? But it actually is a more fluid product. So it kind of will leak over to the side walls a lot faster than a Color Effects will. So, you know, it's a give and take. So really, again, a very personal choice. I invite you guys to try both of them and really make your own decision, because it really is a split decision. In our in-house trainings, we do give our students the opportunity to work with both of them, and it's quite impressive to see which way the students go and why. Why would they pick this one versus that one? And it's really a split decision. So moving on, we do have the nail armor. So here's the nail armor. Whoop, that way. And the nail armor is, again, a base product, and that's why it comes with a black and white packaging. All black and white packaging are base products. And that's pretty much it. We estimate a 2-hour class for today, but again, it might vary depending on the questions that will be asked. And this is a live webinar once again, but you will be able to view it on our YouTube channel. This is recorded and you can view it later on. The only difference is if you do attend this full class, you will walk away with a Gelous certificate for the refill class that we will share with you through a link at the end of this webinar. Okay, so let's move on. So I'm going to take you guys to our website. Some of you have found us through our website and have registered to this class through our website. In the education section right here, you have basically, you need to register because it is a professional brand. And so the webinars and the training are really exclusive to professionals. And so you need to register, and it will give you access to webinars. So some of you got the link through here, and others through our social medias. We're very present on Facebook, Twitter. We also have a Periscope account, which we haven't really put a lot of videos out there for you. But in the future, we will definitely try to get you guys some sneak peeks, maybe on the Gelous brand and Fanair Cosmetics, maybe a bit behind the scenes. So let's go back to product here. Okay, so this is it. This is the whole entire brand. So these are basically the images that I showed you before. What I want you to notice here is the Flexi Gel, which is the first jar right here on your left-hand side, is our base product. It's our bonding product. So it's what really creates the adherence in the Gelous brand. And our adherence is really our success. It's what really makes us different and stand out from a lot of brands, is that we have tremendous adherence and great resistance. And the reason being is that we have what's called polyglass. I'll talk a little bit later on about polyglass, but basically what it is, it's a Lego system. So we use basically two base products. So this is our Flexi product. So I don't know if you guys can see this baguette. And it's called Flexi because it is super flexible. It's like a rubber. And it maintains this flexibility for a really long period of time. I'm going to try to show you guys maybe a little closer. Maybe if I can make this bigger. There we go. So this is our Flexi baguette. So I just want to show you guys just how great and flexible this is. And why is flexibility so important when we do nails? Well, it's extremely important when you have nails like mine, for example. Basically, all products, all new research are tested on me because I have the absolutely worst nails you can imagine. I have zero adherence. It's incredible. So flexibility will give you adherence. And when you have the type of nail like mine, it tends to move a lot through its growth, right? It does not keep the same steady shape. It will move throughout its growth. So you need a product that will move and follow through with it. Because if your product is too dry, for example, like an acrylic or a resin, it will not follow through and you will get lifting. We've then will apply our Sculpt X product. So this is the baguette of a Sculpt X. And this is what we call a hard gel. And this hard gel will protect all the other layers underneath. And it's a great product because Hard gels are easy to file down. Well, not all hard gels. That we've noticed that we've experimented with that. That's part of the reasons why our new lead sealer didn't come out, because one of our versions was just too hard to file. The Sculpt X product, it is great. It files down like glass, and that is exactly what I compare it to, glass. So when you want to build a nail with this product, it's just great because it files down to the exact shape that you want it, because it has this great ability to be filed down. It has a certain flexibility to it, but we have to be careful, because if it has too much torsion to it, it will snap. But I have never seen yet a customer that has snapped a nail in two, so it does have quite a great flexibility for a hard gel. So the Gelous brand is really a hybrid brand. And the reason why it's a hybrid is that we integrate soft gels with hard gels. So I'm going to do this once and once only, because making these baguettes is quite a lot of time. And I just want to show you guys how far it'll go before it just cracks. Erin, there she goes. So it can take a lot of torsion. It can really bend far before it just snaps, but eventually it will snap, because it is a hard gel. It is a non-porous gel, therefore it cannot be soaked off, and it is wanted. We do not want to have a soakable product on top, because soakable products, which are flexible products, have micropores in it, and they can absorb acetone. That's why they can be soaked off. But let's not forget, they don't only absorb acetone, but they absorb all sorts of things, chemicals, radiation, which is the sun, and they're also very susceptible to what's called transfer. And transfer is basically staining of product. So maybe some of you guys that have worked with very soft gels before have seen this transfer occur. And when will you see this? You'll basically see it with pastel colors, French manicures. They're very light colors. So therefore, the finishing product, if it's not resistant to staining and it has transfer issues, you'll see your nail kind of getting grayish a little bit. It has a kind of gray, dirty look to it, and it looks like your product is just getting dirty. And basically that's transfer, and that's because your product is a soft gel to finish with. So never finish a technique with a soft product, especially if it's a technique that's made to be worn for a long period of time. If you're using a soft gel, and a soft gel is made to apply maybe for a week, the chances that you get transfer within that 1 week are very small. But if you're intending your customer to wear this for 3 to 4 weeks, and you are finishing with a soft gel, you're going to have transfer issues, and you're going to have yellowing issues also, because these products are porous. So they have great advantages, but they have their downsides. Just like the hard gels, here's my Sculpt X baguette, they also have their downside. They're great to shape with, they're great to sculpt with, and they're not susceptible to staining either. They don't have transfer issues, but they have very poor adherence. So we have made, in the Gelous brand, this unique polyglass technology, which makes it so that the pores of each product interlock together, and once they are presented under the UV light, they fuse together. And that's one of the reasons why our UV light is called diffusion, because it fuses those little pores together and they interlock. All right. And a little bit about the nail armor. What is the nail armor? Is it a flexible? Is it a hard gel? Of course, it's a hard gel. It's actually even harder than our Sculpt X product. I didn't make a baguette for you guys because it's very thin, and I thought maybe you guys would have a little of a hard time seeing it under camera, but it's actually a lot less flexible than the Sculpt X, because the bonds, the polymer bonds, are locked in a lot tighter. They let even less light in and radiation, and even less transfer. So it really is liquid glass, and it is bomb-proof. All right. So I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't never been on our website, whoops. So this is the product description. I just want to go back to product. You basically have every description: Flexi, Sculpt X, color effects, and vinyls. So again, we were talking about what's the difference between a color effects and a vinyl. So let me just click this color effect product and open it up. And you have a little description here. You also have our color chart right down here, and if you click on it, you can actually open it up and really see each color. There you go, with the names. There we go. It's one of my favorite smoothie, this one right here. Love this color. And Tropical. If you guys ever have the chance to get Tropical, it is wonderful. Not only do I have the worst nails on earth, but I also have the worst skin tone. I've kind of olive greenish. You guys might not see it because we've played around with the lights a little bit. But Tropical, let me tell you, it's just one of those colors that made my skin tone just look great. So this is basically the color chart of the color effects. So color effects, let me remind you, this little purplish jar here. Very creamy in textures, just wonderful to play with because you place it and it just stays where it is. They're super covering colors also. And you notice that's a line that's kind of wild in the sense that it's not very nail art, I wouldn't say so, but it has, you know, blues and greens and yellows and purples, and it has a lot of more osé colors if you want. And if you notice also in the collections, we'll be talking a little bit about that later on, it also is a little there may be a little more out there in color choices than the vinyls. But the big difference is that color effects is actually made in Flexi product. So it has all the great benefits and advantages than the Flexi has. So it has the great adherence, and it has also, it's a soft gel, so it can be removed. And so when you apply color effects, you're actually applying another layer of Flexi. So in terms of resistance, a lot of people say, well, I see a difference between the Sculptex, I see a difference between the color effects and the vinyls. The color effects are a lot more resistant. Well, let me tell you, if you do see a difference between color effects and vinyls in terms of resistance, it is because you are not building your nail properly. Because if you build your nail properly with the Flexi and the Sculptex, the color should only be there acting as a color, and it does not add any strength or resistance, and it shouldn't. So you're relying too much on your color because your base products aren't being built properly. So maybe you're not going high enough with the apex. Maybe the tip is being too thin. Often we see that nail techs tend to make a C-curve that's very thin, and so they get chipping at the front. If you're getting chipping at the front of your nail, the free edge, you are definitely applying too thin. You should not be able to see a difference between color effects and vinyls in terms of resistance. And if you do, ask yourself this question: maybe my product application is not what it should be. All right, so let's see if I can back up. Oh. Let's go back to product. I want to show you guys the vinyls now. The vinyl color chart. Oops. There we go. Small description. And we're going to open the color chart. So the vinyls, I think, came out in, I think 2012 or 13. I'm not sure. But this line was built in such a way that we really targeted the very conservative customers. And so those conservative customers that would only wear classic colors, usually they work in areas that will not allow them to have something very flashy that stands out. So bankers, You'll have a lot of people working in professional fields that they just want to lay low, and so this collection was really made for them. So very soft colors, very classic. So you'll have your reds, your pinks, your neutrals, oranges, a few oranges in there, but nothing wild, nothing. Even we do have a blue. There is a dark blue in here, but even this blue is very classic. I'm a classic type, and when we created this line, the line was, if I'm not wearing it, it's not in the vinyl line. So basically that's how we came up with it. And there is a dark blue in the navy here, and this is such a classic color. It's blue, and you know, if you would have asked me, would you wear blue, I would say no, I would never wear blue, because blue is not classic. But this one is. It's dark. It's beautiful. Also wanted to let you guys know about here, this little legend here. Often these color charts, by the way, are free if you want to receive them. We do ship them out with orders, and a lot of our distributors have them. So don't be afraid, ask for them. They're a great tool to show your customers basically what are the colors they'd like to see in the future. So it's a great tool to show to your customers. So you need to know how this legend works here. So you have O for opaque, which means it's an opaque color. You cannot see through it. It will be covering. You have S for sheer. So sheer is basically like a nylon. You know, you can see a little bit through it. So it's important to know when you purchase your colors that if you have an S, it is not going to be a covering color, because it's not made to be a covering color. Often you'll see it in our two tones, French manicure. We have one that's called birthday suit, and that's a sheer color, and it's made to be a little translucent. Then we have shimmer. So shimmer is anything that has shine to it. So it's hard to show on paper or even on the computer screen if a color is shiny or not. So this legend here really allows you to see basically what the colors look like. All right. Let's back that up a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little more about the vinyls in terms of their collection. Like I've said, vinyls are more for conservative customers, and color effects have a more out there kind of look, and also in their seasonals. But vinyls tend to be a little more fluid. They're very covering. 2 coats is really our golden rule. If it is not a 2-coat covering, we do not come out with it. But it tends to be a little more fluid and runs a little bit more to the sides than a color effects would. So in terms of texture, that's what you really want to be looking for. But a lot of the nail techs basically choose the collection according to the textures, but also according to the collections of colors that come out also. So I invite you guys to later on come and surf this website if you haven't already been on it. It's a great website that we've put together. Here's our winter collection for the vinyls, which was a wine inspiration of it's called the Sommelier collection, and it's all wine inspired colors. A lot of purple, burgundies. It was very, very, very popular line, and it's still available. So if you guys want in on it, it's still out there. All right. So you also have where to buy, so you can find our distributors where they're located close to you. And you can also see who has transactional websites. Oh, I'm just going to spend a little 2 seconds here on this image here. This display is a display of the 30 vinyl colors, the classic line. So this line was really made for salons to actually have this displayed in their salon. It was really made so that they'd have a beautiful visual in their salon. And if you purchase all 30 colors, we actually give you the display, and it's really wonderful. All right. Okay, so bear with me, guys. I'm going to pull out my, I have a little power presentation here that I've put together for you guys. Just waiting it for to load. All right. There we go. I'm just gonna bear with me, guys. Somehow this presentation is not loading properly. Oh. Shouldn't be long. Okay. Whoop. There we go. I'm getting good at this. Okay, let's just back up. All right. I'm gonna put myself up here. Maybe I'll make myself a little bigger. I did get the comment last time on our last webinar that I wasn't big enough on this tiny little face. So I'm trying to make this bigger for you guys. And I'll try to adjust depending on what slide we're on. Okay, so Fanair Cosmetics. We used to be called prior in 2003 Gelous. So for some of you guys that don't know about our past, everything was called Gelous. The brand was Gelous. The company was Gelous. Everything was Gelous. We even had Gelous Techs. And I think it was in 2013 we had the idea of coming up with new brands. We had new products coming out, and we needed to dissociate the brand from the actual company name. And this is when Fanair Cosmetics came to life. And for some of you that wonder what is Fanair, where does it come from? Well, basically Fanair, because we are in Quebec and we are a French brand, a Fanair is actually in French un Fanair, which is anything that constitutes the skin, nail, and hair. So it's the protein that makes skin, hair, and nail. And so we thought it would be a great name because we didn't know in the future where would Fanair Cosmetics be? Would we be introducing eventually maybe skin products or maybe hair products? So this left us a really wide open name that could travel through time with us. So basically, we've been making polymers, and for some of you guys that don't know, polymers are basically plastics, but we've been making polymers that specifically target the nail industry. So it's very, very, very narrow what we do. So we basically make plastics tailored to the nail industry. And we've been doing this since 2003. And we've been doing it in a way where we're very focused on training. And so one of these great training tools, as you see right here, are the webinars that we're doing with you guys, is one of our way to focus a lot on training, because we've realized that you can have a really great product, but if nail techs don't know how to use it or don't use it properly, they will not get the success needed. And for us to get success, we need you to get success. So we are very focused on your performance and your training, and we have lots of services and products out there that are really just focused on training. So we'll see a little later in this presentation what are all the the services and all the tools that are available for you to use in order to really become the best nail tech you can be. All right. So again, all the base products are black and white. That's how you know that you're working with a base product. Play harder, play longer is our slogan, because again, what really makes us unique in the market is the fact that we are so adhering and resistant to the nail. So that's why you can play harder and you can play longer with the Gelous brand. And it's a very tough girl kind of image for the Gelous brand. And notice here how the nail armor is not in this slide, for the simple reason that nail armor was an added product. It wasn't always there. You could actually finish your nail technique just with Sculpt X. The difference is, if you do use a nail armor product, your finishing coat will be so much shinier. And don't forget, remember, like I've said previously, the nail armor bonds, the polymer bonds, are woven a lot tighter together. So therefore, it is even more resistant to transfer than the Sculpt X product. And we could tell also by its flexibility. So this is the full brand together, and we are a 35-day wear. So Gelous is a nail enhancement system that is made to be worn for a long period of time. We're not a soak-off technique, and we're not a 2-week wear. We're really a long-term wear requiring refills. So what type of customers use the Gelous brand or wear the Gelous brand? There's those customers that come and get their nails done once a month, and their nails are always done. They're not one day I have nails, the next day I don't have nails. These are the women that really have set a time aside to really take care of themselves, and once a month they come in and they get a refill. I also want to pay attention here to the size of the jars. This has been done purposely. Notice how small the Flexi is compared to the Sculpt X product, which is just so much bigger. The reason being is that you're going to use so little Flexi than Sculpt X. So the ratio between the Flexi and the Sculpt X is basically you'll be using 0.5 milliliter in a Flexi for 1 gram, 1 millimeter in Sculpt X, and that is due to textures basically. If you guys want to have more information about what's the cost involved in applying the Gelous products, what's my cost at the end of the day, you do have a document on Fanair Cosmetics on our website where you have technical sheets, and in there you actually have the cost of product application, and it's really interesting to see the cost. I won't mention the cost here on this website because depending on what country you're from, or if you're in US dollars or Canadian dollars, it might make a big difference, especially today with the US dollar being so high. It can really make a difference. All right. So again, this is the color charts for the color effects. So the color effects being these purple jars right here. Again, very creamy in textures, really fun to work with. They're really great also when you want to do like a French manicure, or how can I say, like instead of being a full French, it's just a biseau on one side, or you want to apply product in a specific area and none in another. It's great because it just holds so much better. That's what I was looking for, a V-shaped French manicure. All right. So this is the celebration collection for the color effects that came out this winter. So it's a collection that's very sparkly, very festive, and that's why it's called a celebration. We had the solid gold, the ruby red, dazzling Dalila, and vivacious violet. the two colors that are still available in this line, and for a very limited time because there's very few quantities left on this, is Vivacious Violet and Dazzling Dalila. So those are the two colors that are left. So it's hard to see on this picture here, but they're actually sparkles, but it's a very fine kind of sparkle. It's not the sparkle like you're used to or you're thinking about. It's very, very fine. So in the Color Effects collection, you have 2 seasonals that come out every year, and they're 4 colors. So this is the winter seasonal, and there's also the summer seasonal, which should be coming out, I think, in the month of March. So look out for that. And if you want to know more about the seasonals that are coming out, well, you can register to our newsletter on Fanair Cosmetics website, and you will get an email letting you know what the new collections are. And I think this is so important as a nail tech, especially if you're not someone that keeps up to date with fashion and you're not really aware of what the seasonal colors are for 2006, for example. You don't need to be a fashion guru to be able to well serve your customer, because we have done the job for you. We have a great person here internally at marketing that researches all the great colors that are going to be in season this year, and this is how her collections are inspired. So you know that if you picked one of those colors in those seasonals, that you're actually you're offering your customer in style season colors. And it's fun to let your customers know about this. You can let your customers know through our website on an iPad, for example, to let them know these are the seasonal colors that are coming out. This is what's going to be in fashion for 2016, basically in clothing and basically in the world of color. All right, so here are the vinyls. Again, this is the display of 30 colors that I was talking about. And this is the must starter kit for a nail tech, because you basically have, let me just check this out for you guys. Whoops. I'm trying to make this screen a little bigger, but it's white on white, so I'll leave it like that. You basically have all the colors that you'll be using on a day-to-day basis. These are your classics. These are the colors that you will be using forever. They're always in season, they're always in style. They're basically your classics, 30 colors, and when you purchase them, you actually get the display for free. And we've actually matched the packaging to the actual product inside, so the colors match. So this is the seasonal for the vinyl collection. Again, it's the Sommelier collection inspired by wines, and they all have nice, they all have funny play on words, names: Valley of the Vineyards, California Cabernet, the Merlots, the Malbec, the Pinot Party. So they're very inspired by that, and again, very classic colors. And in the vinyls, you also have 2 seasonal, 1 winter and 1 summer, and it is 6 colors that come out in this collection. And again, if you want a heads up on what the summer collection is going to be looking like, you need to register to our newsletter on Fanair Cosmetics. I think you also have the link at the bottom of this your YouTube page in the description. You do have the links to all our website. You have our Twitter account. You have your Facebook links. So you have all of that great social media that you can follow us with that. And I'm pretty sure you also have the Fanair Cosmetics website on there, where you can register for the newsletter and be up to date on all new collections. Are your nails ready for war? Yes, definitely. So this product, the nail armor, was really made and marketed so that you can have this really bulletproof finishing top coat. Because in 2014, when the whole brand was reevaluated, by our power team, some of the power team members thought that, you know, our finishing coat could be shinier, it could be more resistant, and this is why we came up with the nail armor. And it's really descriptive in its way, in its name, because it really is liquid glass, very resistant to staining. Hairdressers love this product because being in contact with hair dye all the time, if you have a product that is affected by transfer, this product is really great for that. I wanted to also let you guys know that all the Gelous products require a 30-second curing time, except for the nail armor, which requires a 2-minute cure, because it is a final coat, and the longer it cures, the shinier it gets. So again, this is the only coat that requires a 2-minute cure. So once again, the Gelous line is a UV curable product. It is not curable in lead at this moment. Again, the only product that isn't is the Sculpt X. All other products have been made to cure under UV light and lead. So we suggest a 36-watt lamp. We do have the Fusion lamp here at Fanair Cosmetics. It does come with a 5-year guarantee, which is really great. And you could cure our product with a smaller machine, for example, a 9-watt. So if you do have a 9-watt, you can still do the whole system. The only difference is that before your product cures, it might tend to leak to the sides. So for example, if you had a perfect apex that was built and your UV lamp is a 9-watt, the product might have slid a little bit to the sides prior to it actually curing. You might have a little bit of problems also with extremely dark colors like black, for example, which is a color that has a very hard time letting light through and therefore curing the product. But it is doable. So you also have the Infotech line. So the Infotech line was available November of last year. And this is one of the first services and tools that we provided the nail techs in order to be able to talk to a real nail tech that had real field experience and could really troubleshoot with you on the phone. And this line is available 7/7. And for some of you that do not have this line, quickly, the phone number for this technical line is 514-666-6645, and the extension for the Infotech line is 226. And if you are out of the country and you need a toll-free line, the number is 1-800-659-1794, and the extension again is 226. You can find our phone number just about anywhere on our website. The only thing you need to remember is the extension, which is 226, but you do have a menu, and you can choose the option of technical support, which will then lead you to this line. So again, this line is available 7/7. You can call anytime, and we will answer your technical questions. We also have the virtual training webinars, which is exactly what you guys are doing today. Oops, I think I just... Now that I can see myself, I'll make myself bigger. All right. So the webinars, which is exactly what you guys are following today, allows us to communicate with our users that are maybe far away in other countries, because the Gelous brand is international now. So these are one of the tools that we have provided for our users that are far away and that cannot come and see us here at Fanair Cosmetics. So in terms of webinar, we have 5 different webinars that are going to be happening over a 6-month period. So All these webinars are being recorded and will be on our YouTube pages to view. So far, we have done 2 webinars, and we've done sculpting and refills. Our next ones are natural nail enhancement color, and that'll be the next one, and that'll be in February. So if you want to know more about when these webinars will occur, you can go on Fanair Cosmetics website. We do have a calendar where you can register, and this will do is that it will send you an email with the link of the YouTube page, so you know exactly when and what time and where to go to attend the webinar. Again, if you guys have any feedback to give us on this webinar, you can do so on this live chat on your right hand side, and any suggestions about future classes. And I know a lot of you guys will say, well, we want to see some deco, and yes, we will have deco classes, but first we need to make sure that you guys know about the basics of the Gelous brand, and we need to run through every webinar of the Gelous techniques, because there is a lot of different techniques that can be done with the Gelous brand. So it's very important that you guys know this, and then we can move on to nail art. So our certificate, which is also the certificate that you guys will be getting at the end of this training if you follow through with me all the way to the end. This is a natural nail enhancement with color. This is not all the certificate you guys will be doing, because this is a refill webinar. It's just to give you a little heads up on what's coming. So the Gelous advantages. I'm gonna. I don't know if I can. Move myself. I am taking up a little bit of space. Unfortunately, I can't see it. Oh, there. Maybe I can move myself like this. Okay. So the Gelous advantages. So if we go in technical benefits, the flexibility and the rigidness of our product is what really makes this system a hybrid. So remember, we're talking about soft gels and hard gels, and both of them having advantages and disadvantages. Well, if we combine them both together, we actually eliminate the disadvantages. The 30-second cure in UV is quite very fast. Actually, I think we are the fastest curing product out there in UV. So 30 seconds, very, very, very fast. We have the ultimate adherence and flexibility due to our polyglass technology. So that is our Lego system, our interlocking Lego system. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna have a little sip of water here. And this is water, by the way. That's what happens when you talk like for an hour straight. So the ultimate adherence and flexibility to the polyglass technology. So remember, we were talking about the Lego system that interlocks and infuses under the UV light. Well, this is what the polyglass technology is. The odorless, so it is an odorless product, which is very important, because when you're working in a spa or working in a salon, you don't want harsh chemical smells, because it might give you a bad reputation, or the salon owner might not want to keep you, because you're basically making her place smell like a chemical a chemical compound place. Glass finish, resistance to sun, chemical, and abrasive, and that is due to nail armor. It is non-yellowing also. We have some great tests here, which we can't unfortunately let you guys see, where we've compared numerous brands to the nail armor, and we've exposed it to radiation sun for 30 days so that we can compare our baguettes to yellowing and staining, and it's quite remarkable. So nail armor is really a great product. Minimal shrinkage. So what is shrinkage? Shrinkage is basically once you've exposed the product to the UV light, it will shrink. It will size down to a smaller size. So it's basically like when you're cooking a hamburger patty in your frying pan, and it was like this big patty, and then after you cooked it, it was this tiny little hamburger, and you're like, what happened? Well, all the solvents came out of the gel, and that is what we call the sticky residue, and then you get shrinkage. So having minimal shrinkage is very important, because when you apply a full-on color to your customer and you really try to get this as far back as you can to her cuticle, and once you cure it, it shrinks. So therefore, it's like she's already got a week's growth. Customers don't like that. They don't like walking freshly out of a salon with already a 1 week growth. So shrinkage is very important, especially when it comes to color. And also for finishing products, because if you have a finishing product that shrinks, don't forget, it doesn't only shrink at the back of the cuticle, it shrinks also at the tip. So therefore, there's no more product at the end of your nail. So easy usage. So what makes our products so easy to use is our self-leveling textures. And we'll see that a little later on when we're building the apex. You're going to see that the product just self-levels, and it makes those textures make the product so much easier to work with, because basically the less you play with it, the better it is. So 3 products for all nail types and techniques. So important. 3 products, whether it's, you're working with tips, whether you're doing a refill, whether you're doing natural nail enhancement, it doesn't change. It's always the same 3 products. And whether you have a short nail, a long nail, a secretor, a non-secretor, dry nail, it's basically all the same products. So we've really dumbed it down for you guys and made it so easy. Easy and fast filing. Oh my God, yes, definitely. And that is due to the SculptX being so easy to just file down with that file and give it that great shape. Because you'll notice in the steps that there are steps where we have to buff down certain imperfections. And if your product is just so hard to file down, what's going to happen is that you're going to leave some of those imperfections behind, because it's just too exhausting to file down, and your shape might not be as great. But with the SculptX product, it is like making a sculpture in glass. It just files down great. So it makes it easier and faster to use. Financial benefits. So it's a high profit margin, because it is low cost per service. And again, to get the low cost, to get the cost per service document on Fanair Cosmetics, you can get that document in technical sheets, and you can see what all the different services cost you. Very important to know when you're managing your own business, to know what really at the end of the day is your cost, because often nail techs will ask me, well, how much do you charge? Or how much should I be charging? And I always say to nail techs, well, there's a lot of things that factor in here. First of all, the cost of the product, well, basically is the same for every nail tech that's in this classroom. But what's your rent like? If you're uptown or if you're more in the suburbs, your rent is not going to be the same price. So you need to charge according to what are your fixed costs, like your rent, for example. And a fixed cost also would be the cost per service. How much does it cost in products to do an actual customer? So you need to factor in all these costs, and then you need to factor in what kind of nail tech are you? What kind of experience do you have? How many trainings have you taken? Because we're a bit like hairdressers. If you've taken a lot of training, and if you've done competitions and plateaus, which does exist in our field, there is nail competitions, well, then you can charge more. The more you have education, it's like anything in life, the more you can charge. So invest in your education, because at the end of the day, it really makes a difference on how much product knowledge you have and how good of a nail tech you really are. And it affects how much you can charge. So the last one is infinite shelf life. So the Gelous products can be kept in a dry area away from the sunlight and away from light, and they can be kept for years, literally years. So this is very important, especially when you invest in colors and you have a large color inventory. You want to make sure that it has a long shelf life. All right. So we've won a few awards here at Gelous. This is one of our, not our latest one, but one of which we are very proud. We did win the Trendsetter Award at the Cosmoprof in Las Vegas, which we were very excited to get. It was a very nice award to get. And we were also in Dallas and were the official red carpet. This is not on this slideshow. But so we've won numerous awards. It's nice to know. So R&D is science behind the beauty. So what's in that? So we here at Fanair Cosmetics have invested a lot of time and energy in our research because we need to be innovative. We need to bring products to nail techs that are really good performing products but are out there. So in terms of our R&D, we have numerous sources of R&D to make sure that we get different minds together and thinking of these great products. So just a little sneak peek in what's coming. We do have a polymer that will be, call it a smart polymer, that self-heals. So once the polymer has been segmented, the bonds have been segmented, once they are exposed to heat, they will bond and fuse back together. And why this is really important? It is very important, let's say, for example, in a finishing product, where you want that great shine to be there throughout that whole month. And what makes that shine go away is these microscopic scratches that accumulate on the nail bed and make it so that your surface is not that shiny anymore. But imagine if your top coat or finishing polymer could actually self-heal itself with heat. So these are one of the great things that we're working on research here. And one of these great people that are helping us is the McGill University here in Montreal. Have taken on this great project, and so we're very, very happy to be working with Chris on this project. A great chemist and great ideas. And this is actually something that he's put together for the military. So we're bringing that to the nail industry in our own way, which is really great. Another one of our projects that we're working on right now in research is coming up with a base polymer that would have antifungal properties. So we want to eliminate the fear in salons of fungus because it really is a fear out there. So if we could eliminate that, I think that this would be a great product. Again, you guys, please tell us your comments about this. Which one would you like to see coming out first? And so it's nice to know what you guys are thinking. Or maybe if you guys want to give us your insights on what's the next new thing you'd like to see coming out in your industry. And we're always open for great ideas, and nail techs being on the field all the time, well, they can really let us know what the input is of the market. So please don't be shy and let us know. So the polyglass technology, which makes the Gelous brand so unique. It's really, this is a small description of what the polyglass technology does. So it's a unique system of polymer layers that possess micropores, so a bit like the Lego block. And these pores have the ability to interlock with each other, giving them the extraordinary adhesive properties. So this is something we're very proud of, this patented technology of ours. And it makes really this system, it's what gives it its competitive edge in adherence and durability. So our power team, what is our power team? Our power team is a group of nail techs that are highly experienced but very critique. And what they do is that they test products prior to us commercializing it. So first we do our internal tests, and then it is given out to the power team, and you guys are free to adhere to the power team. You can call us here And I think the extension for the power team head person is 228, if I remember what. 227, sorry. So extension 227, and you can become a power team member, which means you will have a sneak peek on what's the new products coming out. And you do get a discount on products also, but you have to fill out a bunch of documents, a bunch of questions that are asked, very specific questions that are asked regarding to the product that you're testing. And also sometimes we test products that we don't necessarily want to test, or so it has an advantage and a disadvantage. But I think that if you are a power team member here at Fanair Cosmetics, it's because you really like to be inside our team and see what's going on, and you want to be on that cutting edge and want to know what's out there before anybody else. So our success starts with yours, and this is why we invest so much time and energy in our training. And we hope that you guys enjoy it, and really, really enjoy this training. There's also one slide that's not there because this is a webinar. We do have in-house trainings. So every Monday, every first Monday of the month, we do have in-house training here. So you are free to come and visit us. There are free trainings that we give to all our Gelous users, and we would love to have you here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a short break, a 5-minute break. It is now here 11:23. Let me just make sure that's right. Yeah, 11:23. We're going to take a 5-short-minute break. So give you guys a chance to maybe go to the bathroom, grab a little snack, and we'll be right back. So here we are. This is the Gelous video. We're gonna run through it together and we'll view it a second time. All right, so we're gonna run through this video once again, but this time I will animate this video. Sorry for before my microphone was off and I was talking. You guys didn't miss much. Basically, I was just talking about how we were gonna run through this video, and the first time I was just gonna let you guys watch it, and for the second time I will animate it. This video is also available on our YouTube channel, so if you want to just view this video back again prior to when you're going to be practicing with your products. I also wanted to let you guys know in the documents that were shared, you do have the step-by-step. So again, in your description, in your YouTube description at the bottom, you do have a link to 3 documents, and one of those 3 documents is the step-by-step for the refill technique. Also, you can find these step-by-steps on our FanairCosmetics.com website in the technical instructions and technical sheets and training. You'll find all the step-by-steps needed. All right, so this time I've cut the sound down, so let's view this again. For some of you that don't know, the Academy is actually the unit here responsible for all training materials. So step-by-steps, the technical line, the webinars, the in-house training, it is all run by the Academy. All right, so right here, right now, we're pushing the cuticle back using a drill bit. And this is actually a Coupa machine. I'll show you a little close-up shot later on in this webinar. But I'm using a cuticle bit, which is a diamond cuticle bit, and this is used to push back the cuticle area. And what's great about this is not only does it push the cuticle back, but it also files way back there, which normally you'd have to do with either a hand file or a buffer block, and there's always a chance of cutting that very fine and sensitive cuticle skin back there. So with the machine, it does both steps in one, so it's a real time saver. This bit is also used to clean underneath your customer's natural nail. So it's very soft, and it's a nice beginner bit to start using, because really there's very few damages you can do with this cuticle bit. Remember, if you are starting off to use a machine and you've never used a machine before, please take training, because you can really damage someone's nails with a machine. Even with this very soft cuticle bit, if you tend to stay in one place for too long, that bit is going to eat away at your nail bed, and you're going to have a nice moon shape at the back, which will be caused by this very soft bit. But again, if you do not know how to use it properly, you will create damage. All right, so once that's done, here the bit that I'm using is a carbide barrel, and I use this bit to bring down the existing product. And what's really great about this bit is that it really cuts pieces away, and there's certain advantages to that, and one of them is the dust particles. Because you're cutting pieces of product and not just creating file dust like you would with a net and with a regular hand file, the pieces being heavier tend to float less in the air, so it's better for you not to breathe in the filing dust, and also it doesn't spread out throughout the salon because it's heavier. It really falls back down. I also want to let you guys know that when I am performing a refill, I do use a face mask for the period of the filing. For this period right here, I do use a mask, and it's a total of 10 minutes. So I'm basically filing for 10 minutes, and I put this mask on just to prevent from me breathing in nail dust. And I strongly recommend it for you to do so, because if you tend to have a career for a long period of time in this industry, you need to protect yourself. Not that, they're harsh chemicals to breathe in, but breathing dust is not good for anyone, no matter what kind of dust it is. All right, so let's continue. So I just want to let you know, notice how I'm drilling from up to down. And this is only done in the case that you have an extremely long nail. Her nails are very long, and that's the only reason why I'm drilling from top to bottom. Because if this was a short nail, I really would be drilling from side to side. I'm not sure if we actually see it in this video, but I'm pretty sure we will, because eventually I'll go a little higher on the nail bed and I will be drilling from side to side. From up and down is only for extremely long nails, because if you go from up to down on a short nail, you can't see the cuticle area back there, and you can damage her cuticle. And you'll see a little later, I do have slides in our troubleshooting section where I show you exactly how much filing is being done with the machine versus the hand file. There you go. So bringing down the existing, and here you go. Remember I was telling you about how we'll file from side to side. Now that I'm higher up on her nail bed and there's actually cuticle area, I'm going to be filing from side to side. So this is called what we call the prep, right? So part of it will also be done with a hand file, and the reason being is that the drill bit machine is not used on the natural nail. We will use a hand file to blend in the natural nail with the product, and that can only be done with a hand file, because if we try to do this with the machine, we will damage her natural nail. So here, blending in the product with her natural nail, evening it out. And here we're using 99% alcohol with those pieces of paper towel that I was telling you that I pre-cut and 99% alcohol, I'm going to dehydrate the nail bed. And all of this again is called a prep. So a prep is anything, all the steps leading up to I'm ready to apply product. So this is all prep time, and in total your prep time should take no longer than 20 minutes. Wiping down the nail bed, brushing out the dust particles that could be there, because if you're applying product on dust, number one, you're not on her natural nail, so therefore it will affect adherence, but it will also affect the final look of the product, because it is not, it'll have uneven surfaces. So make sure that you brush out all the existing dust. And once again, once you're done brushing everything out, you do not see it in this video, but you remove all dust from your working surface, because even though you have a surface that has no dust, if there's dust on your table and your customer taps down, it will create a cloud and fall right back down onto your product. So make sure once you're done your prep filing to remove all dust from your working station. All right, so now we're ready for product application. So we're going to start off with the Flexi. So this is the Flexi. The Flexi product, being our bonding base, has a very pinkyish kind of look to it. It is very fluid in its texture. So we are going to apply a thin coat, and you will be covering 98% of the nail only, because you will leave at the back of the cuticle area the size of a toothpick all the way around. Because if your product touches the skin, you will get lifting, because your product, your skin secretes a natural oil which will prevent the adhesion. So here we go. Often people ask me, well, is it too thin? Is it too thick? Am I applying the right amount, the right quantity? And I'll tell you this. If you are applying too thin, you will see kind of dust particles in the surface, as if you can see the filing right through the gel product. So what you want to have is a nice shiny finishing coat, just as if you were to apply a nice top coat. You know, you want to have that nice shiny finish. That's when you know you've applied just the right amount of product. Don't forget also, once you're finished applying your product, make sure that you look down those side walls to make sure you didn't touch the skin. If you did, please remove it with a cuticle pusher prior to curing, because once that product is cured, there's no going back. So again, a 30-second cure. So we are UV cured, and it is 30 seconds. Notice here how we are doing one nail at a time. In a real life scenario, we're not doing one nail. We would be doing all 4 fingers, and the thumb would be separate, because notice how when we insert the hand in the machine, the thumb is always on the side. Therefore, the UV rays cannot get to it because it is not facing upwards. So I always cure the thumb separately. So I would do 4 fingers, thumb, thumb, and then 4 fingers. All right, here we go. So after this, we're moving on to our Sculpting X product, which is the product we're going to be building the apex with. So in order to build a proper apex, we are going to lay down 1 layer of Sculpt X. And this is a quite thick enough layer. And again, basically the same thickness that you would apply Flexi. Again, a nice shiny top coat. The only difference is this time you will apply the Sculpt X not ahead of a toothpick, but you're going to bring the product a little bit lower than the Flexi. So you don't want to be applying Flexi and then Sculpt X directly on top of each other. You want to space it out a little bit. And the reason why you want to do that is because Sculpt X, being a hard gel, has 0 adherence to natural nail. And this is very important that you understand this. 0 adherence to the natural nail. So if you have put Sculpt X onto the natural nail because there is a little bit of shrinkage and you want to cover that little growth, you don't want your customer to know, you will get lifting in that area. And if you are getting lifting at the back of the cuticle area, there's not a million questions and a million possibility, but the number 1 possibility, which we often get on the tech line, is that the Sculpt X product is going way too far back there. So don't forget, Flexi we drop here, Sculptex we drop here, just a little lower. And in space-wise, if you guys want to know what that is, well, it'll probably represent the size of 2 heads of toothpicks. So 1 toothpick from the cuticle to the Flexi, and then 2 heads of toothpicks from the Flexi to the Sculptex. I'm hoping that by the next webinar I'll have a visual for you guys, because I know this is not obvious, but this is very important because this will prevent lifting. But not only will it prevent liftage, it will allow you to have a nice smooth growth and not have that huge bump at the back. And we'll see a little bit more in the troubleshooting section. I have some great pictures of what growth should look like when you have respected this layer application. So let's continue on here. So we do apply 1 coat of Sculptex, and then we're going to drop, so there it goes, that layer. There was quite a lot of product there because that's a lot of length. And then we're going to drop a big gulp of product right in the apex, and we're building that nail nice and high. And don't forget, the longer your nail is, the higher that apex has to be. You really have to build it up high, because this is basic physics, you guys, right? Once you knock that nail, the impact is always going in that stress zone. So if you have a very long nail, don't forget the impact, the bending of it is even stronger. So that apex has to be built quite high, and it goes according to the length of your nail. If you have an extremely short nail, you don't have to apply this much product. For example, if I was applying product right now on a customer that has a very short bitten nail, I practically wouldn't even put a gulp of product. I wouldn't put that big drop there because it's very short, and the chances that she knocks her nail and it bends in half is practically impossible. Her nail will not bend because it doesn't even have a free edge. But in a case like this one, there can be a lot of bending. So make sure, this is very important. This is the part where you build it up. And this video is happening very fast, and there's a lot of details that you don't see. But basically, I'm applying the product from the stress zone all the way to the front of the nail, to the free edge. And I'm letting that product just self-level. Remember how we were saying how easy it was to work with the Gelous products? Well, one of the reasons is that it self-levels. And what you want to see is you want to use the light, the reflection of the lights. And if you see reflection, that is an indication that there is a hole there. So what do? We scoop up a little more Sculptex and we drop it in that hole. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, when I'm applying the huge gulp of product and building that apex, I'm not even touching her nail. My hair of my brush never touches the nail. It is literally a transfer. It literally is the gel that touches her nail and transfers onto it. And that's it. And you'll use small fillets of product and just drop them around like that, and they will just self-level until you get that great shape that you want. If that shape is not great in the beginning, don't worry guys, we're going to file it all down, and the real shaping is happening with the hand file. It's not really with the product. So obviously if you're great with product control, you bring down the filing time, which is great, but you work at it. It's a working process. All right, so there you go. Those are those small fillets that I was telling you about, letting it all self-level. And again, a 30-second cure time. And it is normal here if you have built a high enough apex and you've put a lot of Sculptex down, you will find that there is heat that will be felt on your customer's nails. This is completely normal. She can remove her hand from the machine and let it cool down and then go back. And again, this technique here in your workflow, you will be doing one nail at a time because there's so much product on there. If I try to do all four, they won't have the same timing and they'll just leak into the sidewalls. So if you're new at this and you don't have that speed, because don't forget that product keeps leaking. If you're new at it and you don't have speed, what you can do, one of the tricks is you can just basically flip your nail, your hand upside down like this, and the product will go back to the middle area, back to the apex, and prevent from leaking into the sidewalls. So that might be something you might experience in the beginning, because if you play too much with the product, it tends to fall onto the sides. So very little playing with the product is really the success to this. So after our 30-second cure, we will be wiping the residue, the sticky residue, with the 99% alcohol, just because we're going to be filing and we don't want the sticky residue to cover our file. And now in the filing, I will be using a 100 grit, and I'm removing all imperfections. Any bump that I can see, I'm leveling out the nail and getting that great shape. If the product did tend to scoop over onto the sides, this is when I bring it back together. So if it's kind of fell over to the side, I'll file it back to its original shape. And this is where really the shaping comes together. And I will also, at this step, I will also reshape the nail. It's very important to know that when you put that much product down, it kind of deforms the original shape that you had from the beginning. And this is why you don't spend too much time shaping the nail in the beginning, because when you once you've built your apex, it kind of deforms it and you have to redo that shaping again. So if you don't want to waste time, just keep the perfect shaping at the end. Actually, at this step right here, when you're filing down your sculpt decks. Now I'm using a white block, which is a 180 grid. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be leveling out the flexi layer and the sculpt layer. Because remember, we didn't position them one on top of each other. We've spaced them out a little bit. And that spacing can show. So in order for it not to show, we're going to use a white block and buff it down so that they blend in in each other. And that is all the way around the cuticle area. And we're going to be using a block to do so. I'm also going to buff the nail surface down too, because you want to have a really smooth surface to apply color, because a color applies best on a smooth surface. So you either want to smooth it out with the block, or you could also apply a second layer of flexi to smooth out the surface. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't do this step properly and it's not well blended at the back, what's going to happen is that your color might have this kind of shape at the back. Instead of having a nice round cuticle, it might be a little bit wavy, and it'd be harder to control the product, because the product follows the original product. So if it goes off to the side, if you have product leaking onto the skin, for example, when you put color, it's going to go directly onto the skin. It'll follow through. So very important here that you blend in the flexi and the sculpt decks. Another thing that I do see a lot in training during the refill class is that sometimes nail techs will file through the sculpting product and the flexi product. So basically, at the back of their nail, they've overfiled. So they're back to their natural nail. And they no longer have that great flexi bonding base to create the adherence. So if that does happen to you, please add another coat of flexi product, because you filed a way through it. And I know for some of you beginners, it's hard to tell, am I filing product? Am I on the natural nail? I can't tell the difference, you know? So how can you tell this is be very, very attentive when you're filing down the surface, the feeling of it, the sound of it. Be very attentive to it. Do not talk with the customer. This is why when we practice, we don't have customers, and we don't have our best friend with a bottle of wine either. We try to focus and listen. Listen to the sound that file makes as it slides through on product versus natural nail. And you'll also notice filing sculpt decks and filing flexi is not the same feeling. And you have to get fine-tuned to that so that you know, am I a natural nail or am I on product? Because if you file through all that product back there and you're back onto your natural nail, you no longer have the adhering base and you need to reapply it. All right, here we go. So buffing out the surface, and now we're ready for color. So I've chosen here, which was the summer collection of the vinyls. A really nice soft color, which is, I think, is still available actually, but I think it's very limited, colors that are available, selection in that. It is a 30-second cure under the UV light, and we do recommend 2 coats. What happens if you guys are trying to apply too much product in one step is, number 1, you get product leaking onto the sidewalls, and number 2, you might get poor curing. And what will that look like? It will look like a wave of product. So the product will have waved. And that could be done for 2 reasons. The number 1 reason is that you applied too much product. So your coat is way too thick. The light cannot penetrate, and therefore you cannot get a proper cure. The second reason is the customer placing her hand inside the UV lamp and then quickly removing it because her cell phone rang or for whatever reason. So an in and out can also cause what is called wrinkling. Alright, so a second coat, so you really want to respect, it is a 2-coat application, so don't try to bypass that. If you are applying 3 coats, it could be because of the pressure that you're putting on your brush. So if you put too much pressure on a brush, your brush is going to fan out, and you're going to be collecting product instead of applying product. So reduce the pressure in your brush. That will help out a lot. Also, don't forget, you guys, that first coat of color really is like the contour of a tattoo, for example. It really lays out that perfect shape. It's like it's like a drawing, and you're really drawing out the outer layer of your drawing, and that's really going to lay down the surface for your next color. So how well you apply that first color is very important. And again, in times of the workflow and how many nails can I do at the same time, well, for color, I usually do 2 nails at a time, just because I want that color to stay exactly where I've positioned it. I don't want it to move around, because the product will move around until it is cured. So therefore, you want the product to be cured exactly the way you've positioned it. So 2 nails at a time on my first coat is what I do. On the second coat, the color tends to bleed less, and therefore you can do 4 fingers at a time. Alright, so in we go. And then we're going to finish it all off with the nail armor, which is really going to protect and seal the color. So we're going to apply 1 layer, and only 1 layer is needed. Don't forget, if you did seal the free edge with the color, you need to seal the free edge with the nail armor, because the color is a porous product and is not stain resistant, and those tips will get stained if you don't have nail armor on it. So again, it's a 2-minute cure for nail armor. It is the only product in the Gelous line that requires 2 minutes. And once that's done, we are going to wipe down the sticky residue with our 99% alcohol and apply cuticle oil. Now, one of the questions that I often get in the troubleshooting on the tech line is that some people will say, well, I find nail armor is not that shiny. What can occur is that you can get a whitish powder that will form on top of the nail armor once you've wiped it down. It is a very temporary powder. If your customer washes their hands, or if you apply cuticle oil like I have, it goes away. It's only a very surface effect, and it might give you that feeling that it's not so shiny, but if you remove it, you're fine. So few ways to remove it. Have your customer wash their hands. You can also use a cotton ball to just wipe it down, kind of buff it out. A bit like when you wash windows, that film that's there, you can, if you rub it in, it disappears. Well, it's basically the same effect that's happening here. All right. And there you go. We have that nice finished. And don't forget, you need to give your customer her next appointment. And depending on her nail shape, you might want to suggest 4 weeks, 5 weeks. This customer here, tends to get a refill every 5 weeks. So she has a nice nail bed, and she doesn't have a very she doesn't have a job where she solicitates her nails a lot, so she can go for quite a while. All right. So we're just going to finish that off here. All right. So next will be our troubleshooting section. I've put together a few pictures for you guys, so just bear with me. Just gonna go look through here all the pictures that I have. Okay, so let's start with this guy right here. Oop, no, not this one. Here it is. Okay. So this is a great picture. I'm going to try to stretch myself out a little bit. Okay. So this is a great picture of a nail growth. So this, I think, has about 3 weeks of growth. And what I want to show you on this picture over here is if we look, sorry, I'm just trying, right here at this growth, you see how it's a smooth growth. It's not this huge bump at the back. So it's quite smooth, and it grows in. And which is really great, because if the customer wants to apply a nail polish, for example, on top of that to hide that growth, she really can. And that's when you know that your nail tech knows what she's doing and how well she can apply product, is when you have that smooth growth. Okay. So the next picture I wanted to show you guys is, I was talking a lot about machines. So here's my carbide bit. So this is my carbide drill bit that I use to bring the product down. And I want to specify a little bit more about all the advantages that it has, because this is really a great bit. You do have cardboard bits, and they create a lot of dust powder, and the dust gets all over the place. You're breathing it in. It's all over the salon. And also, it scratches the surface down. So if you have product lifting there, you can't even see it because the surface is all scratched. It's basically the same if you were hand filing. You get the same result. The carbide bit allows you to cut pieces of the product and leaving a clear surface for your eye to see if there's any product lifting. So this is what's really great. And this is a super fast bit. So because it's cutting pieces out, it's very fast. And it's also non-conductor of heat. So it prevents your customer's nails from getting hot, which is basically what customers really hate about drill bits is that heat factor. You can still get heat, don't mind me, but because you're staying on the surface for such a smaller period of time, you get less product heating. If you are a beginner, though, I do not suggest that you go with this bit. Because if you file on your customer's skin, on her cuticle, you're not scratching the surface, you're cutting the surface. So which means that you really have to know what you're doing in order to use this bit. They do have a beginner carbide bit, which has a rounded area at the tip. So if you do touch the cuticle area or the skin, it is softened out and it won't hurt your customer. It's a smaller size though, but it's a great tool to begin with. I do also suggest the cardboard bits to begin with, just because if you touch the skin of the customer, you're going to scratch the surface instead of actually cutting the surface. And guys, please invest in a good quality machine. Today you can get good quality machines for under $150. So do not be hard to spend a little bit of money if this is your career and you do intend to do something with it. This money is definitely going to come back. It's a great investment. By the way, if some of you want to know, this is a U-Power 200, and this machine here has over 13 years. So, you know, these machines, if you buy quality, will really last a long time. This is a Coupa product, and I love it. I got this 13 years ago, and it was a birthday gift, and I love it. I would never do nails without it. I actually have many spare ones, just in case. All right, so then I'm going to show you what actually gets done with this machine. Here we go. So this is a very interesting picture because you can see how far I actually go with the machine. So this is the part that's being filed with the machine. Notice how there's a moon shape back there. Moon shape. And you want to leave that back there because that part is not done with the machine. That part will be hand filed, and you will be using a 180 grid because you don't want to damage her nail. So when I'm teaching people to begin with a machine, I want to be able to see that moon shape. If you can't give me that moon shape, that means you have damaged your customer's nail. And it's so easy, especially with a carbide bit, if you tend not to keep your machine straight and just kink it a little bit, away it goes, and it takes a piece away of your nail. We'll see what damaged nails could look like. I think I have a great picture here just to show you. I think it's this one. Nope. Damaged nail. Here it is. Now, this picture here is a great example of what damaged nails can look like if you are using a machine and you don't know what you're doing. This damage also can occur not only from the machine, but it can also occur with a hand file. You can basically make the same mistakes, but often we see this with machine users. So you see that half moon back there? That's because that nail tech didn't respect the moon shape that it requires, and she went back there with that machine. This also could be caused by the cuticle bit. Remember the cuticle bit that we saw a little earlier in that video? And I was telling you that even though it's a very soft bit, you can still cause damage, because when you're pushing that cuticle back, you want to go a maximum of 5 times. If you're exceeding 5 times, you're creating damage. And there's very little pressure that's put on when you're using a machine. You're just surfacing the nail very softly. If you put pressure, that's not good. Either your bit's worn out or you're not effective in your filing. You should not be putting pressure, just like a hand file. There should be no pressure on a hand file. The grit is doing the work. If you're applying too much pressure, often that's a sign that your hand file needs to be changed and that it's worn down. Another thing I want you guys to see here, this is a picture that I've got off the internet. So this is probably an acrylic product here, and you can basically see all her refills, like refill number 1, refill number 2. And the great thing about the Gelous product is that you can do as many refills as you want, and you will never, ever, ever see this, ever. It just blends in one refill after the other, and clients can really wear the Gelous products forever. There's not a limit of time where your product gets kind of cloudy or you can see different growths in there. This will never happen to you. All right. I want to show you what a full completely filed down nail looks like. So this is that magenta nail that we saw at the beginning, and this is it once it's prepped. This is fully prepped nail. The filing's been down, the color's been completely removed, and this nail looks like it's practically natural, but it really isn't. There is still product on there. How much product is there on there? There's about the equivalent of 2 layers. 2 layers of plexi. And keep in mind, this is a sculpted nail, so this tip here is not even hers, but it barely shows. So again, you want to leave some product there, because if you are over filing and you're removing too much product, one of the signs is that you will get pinkish spots that will show up on your nail. Just like that pink half moon we saw, same thing will happen, and that is a sign that you are over filing. And what results will overfiling have over a certain period of time is you will get no adherence. The adherence will be terrible. And when you get no more adherence, you get no more customer. It goes together. It's a hand in hand. So make sure you don't damage customers' nails, because customers really do not like this. And if you're overfiling, number one, your customer's nails will be very sensitive to heat, especially when you'll be reapplying product. She'll really feel the heat of the curing under the UV lamp, and she shouldn't be. So be careful with that overfiling. So let's talk about the reverse effect. So what if I'm not filing enough? Because often when doing a refill, nail techs don't know how far they should go. So I'm telling you 2 layers of gel, but new beginner techs don't even know if they're on a natural nail or if they're still filing product. They can't tell that difference because they don't have that experience of what it feels like to file down product. So what you want to do is you want to look at the nail, you want to be able to see the C-curve, and you want to be able to have product on there. And one of the good advice that I can give you is to just wet the nail down with the 99% alcohol, wipe it down with your piece of paper towel, and look at the clarity of the product, because that's really what you will see once the product is applied. So you wipe it down and you look at the nail and you see, do I see product lifting here? Is the nail tint, is it a little bit too yellow? If it's too yellow, it's a sign that you haven't removed enough product. Because nail techs that don't file enough often are nail techs that don't have machines, and you kind of get lazy at the end and you leave a little more product, and after 1 refill, 2 refills, what you seem to see is the nail will get very thick and very yellow, because polymers tend to yellow on the surface. So when customers come back from refills, we remove that yellow surface and we reapply, so you don't get a yellow nail. But if you don't remove those top layers, your nail will tend to be very yellow. So on one side, your customer will get damaged nail. On the other side, they'll get thick and yellow nails. So if you had to choose, which one would you take? Would you take the no more adherence or the thick and yellow nail? So the best is really to file and to leave the equivalent of 2 layers of flexi on the surface. And when I say 2 layers of flexi, I'm really giving you an indicator as of the thickness of product that you need to leave. But one thing is for sure, all lifting must be removed. All lifting. All right, I want to show you guys a highly damaged nail that I have here. I'm not sure if this is the picture. I have so many pictures here for you guys. Okay, damage filing. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is a nail that has cracked from one side to the other. So this is basically a customer that hit a surface and the nail bent, and there was not enough product in the apex, in the stress zone, to absorb the shock. So if you do have customers that have this kind of crack from one side to another, or tend to have cracks, they don't have to be a full crack, they could be just a partial, just a little quarter here. This is a sign that you are not building the stress zone high enough. So you need to put more product in this zone. So where's the stress zone? A lot of people are like, I don't understand, I don't know where the stress zone is. I'm going to make this image a little bigger. I'm going to stand here and show you guys. So the stress zone, and I'm sorry here, I'm working with a green screen. This is the stress zone. So basically it's where your customer breaks their nail. So her stress zone will be a little bit lower, just about here. So all the product you need to build is right here to the front. So at the back, you need to put very little product because nobody ever breaks their nail way back there. They always tend to break it in the stress zone. So make sure you build that apex really well. Just gonna shrink this down here. Whoop. basically, maybe some of you guys are asking, well, what do I do with a nail like that? Well, you have to remove all the cracked product because it's basically like a foundation. You don't want to be building a house on a cracked foundation, and this is your foundation. So you need to file down to her natural nail and pray that her nail is not cracked in half and it's only the product that absorbed the shock. If the nail is cracked in half, her natural nail, you can try to apply a silk wrap to her nail in order to hold both pieces together. Unfortunately, it's not part of the this webinar, but silk wraps are very they're very practical in terms of nails that tend to have cracked either horizontally or vertically. They're great for that because they hold both pieces together. They're very clear. It's very simple to apply, and you basically apply your silk wrap to the crack, and you have to make sure that you are back to the natural nail. You can't just put a silk wrap on top of this. You have to go back to your original foundation and really fix the first layers of product that cracked. You can't just fix the top and patch it up. It won't hold. I think that's pretty much it over the troubleshooting. Let me just go through these pictures here. I think I did have an image, but I didn't put it down for you guys. And this is something you often see when you're doing a refill. So you have a little bit of product lifting. And, if you do have lifting, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. Some customers tend to have more lifting than others. And how you can tell is basically the nail shape. The nail shape will tell you a lot. If she has that perfect shape almond nail, she probably won't have a lot of lifting. But if she has a triangle shape, or she's a nail biter, for example, you get a lot of lifting because those nails go through a lot of movement in their growth, and they create product lifting. So if you do have product lifting, try to figure out why. Try to figure out, is it my technique? Is it the way I'm working? Or is it the customer? So how can you tell? Well, you can tell by the nail shape. You can tell also by what this person does for a living. I mean, if she cleans houses, or she's a maid, her hands are obviously going through a lot of work, and it can explain it. Look also for people that tend to work a lot with water, or that wear rubber gloves. For example, anybody that works in a hospital, or a dentist, or an assistant of a dentist, they'll tend to have a lot of lifting because their hands are 8 hours a day in gloves, and that humidity just builds up in there. So make sure you know what nail shape you're working on, what your customer does for a living also. And don't take the blame. Don't take 100% of the blame, because often we're not that responsible for it. And one picture that I will try to get for the next training is, what does it look like when a nail is actually ripped out? Because some customers will come and say, oh, they all fell off. I don't know what happened. But you know what? A nail that fell off and a nail that was ripped off is very different. And obviously when a nail is ripped out, it usually will take away layers of the nail. So you will see that those damaged layers. And that's a nail that's been ripped out. If the nail fell out because it had bad adherence, because she happens to be that 1% that doesn't get any adherence, her nail will be intact. It will be damaged free. That's how you know if a product really fell out by itself. So that's pretty much it for our troubleshooting. Now we're going to move on to our quiz section. Let's see how well you guys listen to me. So I've put together a few questions. There we go. So question number 1. Whoop. Maybe I can backspace this for you guys. Don't look at the answer. Okay, question number 1. How many layers of gel should I leave behind when doing a refill? So I'll give you guys a few seconds to answer this question. So the answer is the equivalent of 2 layers of gel should be left as a buffer before beginning a new application. So the equivalent, and basically this is a guideline for you guys to know exactly how much product should be left behind. Question number 2. What is a visual indicator that I have over-filing issues? And I had a great picture for you guys for this question here. So I'm going to let you answer this question. I'm just going to put this on mute while you guys are answering that. Okay, so the answer is the visual indicator that a nail technician has overfiled is the appearance of red or pinkish spots on the nail bed, or even the moon shape that we saw in that great picture that I had for you guys. So question number 3, what will be the long-term effect of overfiling my customer's nails? The answer to that is poor adherence and weakening of the natural nail, and eventually the loss of your customer. Question number 4. What is the visual indicator that I'm not removing enough gel product when performing a refill? Answer: the accumulation of too much product over time will result in thickening and yellowing of the nail. So obviously if you have thick yellow nails, it's not great, but it's better, in my personal opinion, than no adherence. Because the worst comes to worst, your customer can tell you, can you make them a little thinner? And then you can readjust. Question number 5. How many refills can I perform before having to soak off the Gelous products? This one's a trap, by the way. Answer: the Gelous products never have to be removed. Customers can have as many refills as they desire. Like I had mentioned before, you will not see refill number 1, refill number 2, if you're doing a great job, obviously. The product is very clear, and the flexibility and the adherence really stays for a very long period of time, so there is no need for you to remove any of the product or soaking off. But if you do desire to remove the technique, remember that it is a hybrid, therefore you have part that is soakable and another part that isn't. So quickly, just to let you guys know what products can be soaked off. So Flexi, Color Effects, and vinyls can be removed in acetone. So you will have to file the upper layers, so the nail armor and the Sculptex will be removed by filing, and then you can soak off the base. Alright, so that's it for our questions. Now we're going to move on to questions that you might have. So again, on your right hand side, you do have the chat box where you can ask your own questions. If there's things that I haven't been through and you'd like to ask, this would be our question period. All right, so we have a question. So the question is, what quantity should I look for, what quality should I look for in an electric file? Very good question. Of course, quality is very important in electric files, because don't forget, this is your tool that you work in and out with. So it's very important. Don't try to get a cheap product. Often I suggest girls to get quality machines, the RPMs are quite important also. The higher the RPMs, the better. But basically, it's the vibration in the handpiece. A lot of it is in the handpiece. Unfortunately, I wasn't ready for this question, so I don't have a handpiece to show you. But what you want to look for is you want to look for a handpiece that's well balanced out. So therefore, it doesn't tend to, it will basically hold itself. If I hold the center like this, it'll even out by itself. So look for handpieces that are all metal as much as possible, very little plastic, because plastic tends to crack as it falls on the ground, and unfortunately we don't want to drop our handpieces, but it is something that happens. So you want to look for the handpiece, the quality be in the handpiece, and very little vibration felt. So good bearings in that handpiece will help. Try to look for something that's manufactured in the U.S. or Japan. They tend to have good quality products. And again, for my favorite machine is the U-Power 200, and that is a machine that runs about $400 or $500. But like I've mentioned, I've had mine for 13 years, and I mean I've had it maintained, because you can actually send it back to Coupa, and they do maintain the handpieces for you, which is really great. Because they tend to accumulate powder inside of them, and they need to be cleaned out once in a while. So you really want to buy your machine from a company that will allow you to do this. So that's basically it for the electric files. All right, so the next question is, should I remove any nail art before passing the electric file on the product surface? Well, it depends what nail art you have. Some nail art can be removed with a filer. For example, if I'm talking about sparkles or stickers, of course they can be removed with the electric file. There's no problems. Where it becomes an issue is if you're applying these 3D shapes, you might want to file around it and try to pick it off first, because it might fly into your eye as the machine hits it. So not all nail art can be removed with the electric file. It really depends on what it is, but basic nail art products are removed with the electric file. Question number 3. Should I refrain from applying nail enhancement on a new customer with over-filing damaged nails? So yes, you can. You can apply the Gelous products on this customer, but you cannot guarantee that she will get a 3 to 4 week wear. She will have to come maybe every 2 weeks for the first or second time. She might get a lot of product lifting, so she has to be aware of these issues, that she's not a regular case. Or you can basically just tell the customer to wait and let her natural nail grow out, but you're taking the chance of never seeing this person again. Obviously, she's coming to see you is because she has a need and you need to fulfill it. We have a 4th question here. How long should it take me to prep a customer before being able to reapply a new product? So for some of you guys that don't know what a prep is everything from the time your customer sits down for a refill to when you are ready to apply your first coat of product, which is the Flexi Bonding Gel. So basically pushing the cuticle back, filing down her existing technique, blending in the technique to the natural nail, removing dust, and wiping down and dehydrating the nail bed with the alcohol. Basically takes 20 minutes. Really interesting questions, because time is also very, very important. As a nail tech, time is money. As many customers as you can deal with in a day is very important, and it does affect your revenue at the end of the day. So we're going to take a final question. So final question number 5, I think. Can I remove lifted products safely by machine, or should I do it by hand? So I don't suggest that you remove product lifting with the machine, because when you do file over product lifting, number 1, the piece will fly, and we don't know where it will fly. It might be in your face. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. So what you can do is use a cuticle nipper that is only used for product cutting, because you cannot cut skin after you've cut product with it. And you can snip away at this product lifting if it is a big enough piece. You can file a little bit over it with the electric file just to thin it out, but do not remove the whole piece, because number one, it will fly away. We don't know where it'll fly. And number two, it will scare you and scare your customers. And the last thing you want to do is scare your customer with the electric file, because electric files can be scary. Some customers have had really bad experience in the past with that. And just recently, I've had someone ask me that she wanted to go back to a beginner bit, and I was asking, why do you want to go back to a beginner bit? And she was telling me that she cut her customer's skin because she tried to remove a lift, and as the machine caught the lift, it jerks, and her hand was unstable and cut the customer's skin, and now she's scared, and obviously imagine how scared the customer is. So try not to remove them with the machine. Try to file them down and then cut with the cuticle nipper and then file down. Another little tip I can give you guys to prevent overfiling, and this is really when you have the lift the size of a hair. It's really something small. Nothing that bacteria can filter or humidity can slide underneath. Really the size of a hair. You will use, one of the products we use here is called a quick seal, which is a very, very, very liquid-like water kind of texture glue, and it really seals in that lifting, and it prevents from overfiling. Because if you try to remove that tiny little lift, you'll file and file and file and file until eventually you just have no more product left on the nail, and you have created overfiling issues. So to stop this, you will use the quick seal, and it will just seal it off. And then you'll just take a little block and just slightly buff it on top of it to create a more adhering surface. So that's it for the questions for today. And I want to tell you guys, thank you very much for sitting in on this, and I hope you've learned something. And I also wanted to let you guys know if you didn't answer the questions properly, it's because somehow during this presentation, maybe you missed out on a few parts, and maybe you should listen to it again. Like I said, it will be available on YouTube for you to view a second time. And don't feel ashamed. I mean, we only really register 10% of trainings anyways. So if you go for a second time, now you get 20%. But for some of you that went really well, and you think that you've really accomplished everything and learned everything, we have this certificate here that will be shared to you via the chat on the YouTube channel, and you can literally download your own certificate, and right there, that is my signature on this certificate for the Gelous Refill webinar. So once again, congratulations for this training, and I hope to see you guys again on further trainings. I think our next one will be in February. I do not have the exact date with me. I think it's the 15th of February. There will be a training, and if I remember well, it is on natural nail enhancements. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope to get your comments on social medias. Let me know how you like this, or how I can make this better for you, or more exciting. So thank you very much, and have a nice day.